Okay, so does that mean that all supply curves are upward sloping? Well, the answer is, of course not. Yeah, because we made particular assumptions about what a supply curve looks like. And we said that it all depends. We said that upward sloping supply curves, they depend on this idea that firms will be increasingly unwilling to supply more. So they assume that an increase in supply becomes more difficult. That it becomes harder and harder to increase supply, and that therefore supply will only rise if you're offered as a firm a higher price. But we said that's not necessarily true. So we said that in lots of markets, actually, it doesn't necessarily work that way. So a classic example of a market like this would be something like music downloads. Essentially, Apple sets the price. And you can have as many as you want. It doesn't cost them any more to supply. So per download, it costs them a tiny amount of money. Essentially, they set the price at a particular level. And therefore we can say that the marginal cost is constant. That the firm will simply supply as many as you want. So if demand was at that level, then you can have 50 million downloads. If demand rises to D2, you can have 80 million downloads. There's no reason that the firm will require an increase in price. And in fact, this is true for many manufactured goods. So it's probably true not just of music downloads, it's probably true of car production, to be completely honest. Or iPhones. Or any manufactured product that can be expanded at constant cost. So essentially Apple sets the price for a new iPhone. Let's suppose they choose it to be 900 quid. And they'll simply supply you as many as you want. So essentially, what this is suggesting is that there are no real limits on supply. That supply, in the case of iPhones, I guess eventually you'd reach the size of the factory or something, and then they wouldn't be able to supply you anymore. But other than that, you can have as many as you want. So supply could be completely horizontal like that, or in some cases, supply is probably going to be vertical. So if we're looking at tickets for sporting events, so stadium seats or something like that, then basically there are as many as there are. So if you want to go, to a concert, Wembley Stadium, Wembley Arena, I don't know, there's probably 20,000 tickets. Well, that's it. It doesn't. If we offer Wembley Stadium more money, well, they can't build a new stadium in the short run. There's nothing they can do. And therefore, however high the price is, they don't increase the supply. There are only 20,000 seats available. So an increase in price leaves supply unchanged. So that would be an example where there is some sort of fixed capacity. Or something where production has ceased. So I don't know, Picasso's or something. It doesn't matter how high the price is, there aren't going to be any more than there already are. So whilst we're assuming that supply curves slope upwards generally, that applies to particular scenarios. It applies to commodities, like oil and cocoa, coffee, that type of thing. It applies to housing markets, in the sense that, if you come along and say, sell me your house, and it's like, well, I'm not going to. I like living in it, but I might if you offered me more money. So again, supply would be upward sloping. It's true for markets where prices are set fundamentally by the forces of supply and demand, like exchange rates and shares. Upward sloping supply curves operate there. I have shares in Sainsbury. I don't want to sell them, but if the price goes up, maybe you could persuade me. Therefore, the supply of products onto the market would increase. So whilst we're assuming that, when you're drawing supply curves, it applies to a particular set of markets. Supply will normally be upward sloping. But if you're given a slightly more unusual situation, just think, do the assumptions behind supply curves apply in this case or not? And if not, just think about, well, would supply look a bit different? And we'll return to this in a couple of weeks when we look at what's called elasticity of supply.